5 people group stress management, resilience, and optimism.
Do you often feel stressed?
Do you often feel anxious?
Do you often feel sad? Well, you always feel painful.
Did you often feel angry?
Any of the above questions, please contact us 5-person mental institution, always at your service, phone 888-8888. Lectures on optimism and resilience, Friday 5 p.m. Please enjoy.
Hello everyone, we are Group C. My name is Jasmine. Today we are going to talk something about resilience and optimism. First, we are going to talk about what exactly is resilience. It is important to remember that the word resilience means many things to different people,
such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressor.
To us, resilience means the ability to adapt and grow. Research has shown that resilience is pretty common and people tend to demonstrate resiliency more than you think. American Psychological Association defines resilience as
the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experience, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demand.
Optimism is also strongly associated with resilience. Social and personality psychology compass reviews shows that
optimism is the basis of positive thinking and highlighted in a person's thinking style when faced with setbacks. Too little optimism can bring you down, whereas too much optimism can make you overconfident.
So, how do we correctly define optimism? Optimism is a mental attitude characterized by hope and confidence in success and a positive future. Optimism are those who accept good things to happen, while pessimists instead predict unfavorable outcomes. Optimism tends to be difficult as learning experience or temporary setback, even though once a day has both then hope that tomorrow may be better. Emily, who is the author of The Power of Meaning, describes that
people who are resilient tend to be more positive and optimistic compared to the less resilient people. They are better able to regulate their emotions, and they are able to maintain their optimism through the most trying circumstances.
Moreover, the International Journal of Indian Psychology did a study of the relationship between optimism and resilience in the time of COVID-19 among university students. They randomly selected 100 university students from different states of India as the respondents, which include 36 men and 64 women. The age of the selected sample was between 18 to 26 years old. As a result, it was found that optimism and resilience shared a positive relationship not only otherwise, but in the challenging times too. Finding revealed that to increase the resilience, one has to increase the positive and optimistic thoughts. In conclusion, optimism is positive attitude to life, while resilience is the ability to bounce back in the face of adversity. That is the end of my part. Thanks for your listening.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So, my name is Eileen Gong. First, thanks to Manager Riching for giving us the explanation about optimism and resilience. So, I believe that you also have a basic understanding of these topics. I will show more research and investigation next. So, we will have a lot of unsatisfactory things in our life. So, what kind of mentality should we use to deal with it?
Martin Seligman, as a doctor in positive psychology, he claims that when we have negative beliefs, our problems have changed from trivial things that happening once or twice to permanent, personal, and pervasive. And he also mentioned in the definition of optimism that optimism includes your way of thinking about setbacks and your way of thinking about victory. So a pessimistic person thinks that this situation will last forever when they encounter setbacks, but optimistic person thinks it is temporary when they encounter setbacks. Just like...
Oh my god! It's all my fault. I'm a stupid person. I will never get it. Maybe it's not a good time. I think it will be good in the end. It's not my fault. Yeah.
Alright, so the above is a video I made based on an interview with my friend. Yeah, there is a lot of contrast between these two groups, right? Okay, so now turn to the resilience. Resilience and optimism are closely related, yeah, and it is the basic of optimism. And resilience is not a trampoline. Here you will fail a while and then jump again.
This is more like writing without a footprint map, and you may encounter difficulties in the process. Dr. James Burns said people talk about tenacity and resilience and strength of character, but it is optimism that drives a behavior when on some days it will be easier to say, "Stop, I give up, it's too hard." Optimism is believing in the impossible and then taking the step to make it possible. Resilience is the ability to resist adversity and rebound from difficult life events.
Okay, so maintaining resilience does not mean that people will not feel stressed, emotional, troubling, and painful. So now, change our way of thinking by developing optimism and resilience. Change on this thinking and take practical action for it. Believe yourself, you can do that. Okay, so now let's welcome our next speaker, Wen Hao. He will describe practical example and application of optimism and resilience. So, thank you everyone.
In my part, I will talk about how to apply resilience and optimism. And I will talk about optimism first. Since we know that people who have strong optimism are capable of adapting their emotion to make their emotion sustainable positivity, and use their best of days to face their life or face a problem. So how do we apply the optimism in our daily life? In psychofield, the optimism is practiced on different fronts. It can be the group activities, workplace, objects, and situational games. I'll give you an example. For instance, a person who has suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, which is PTSD, especially in the case of domestic abuse and sexual violence, those people's emotions are easily negatively affected because of they have suffered the disasters. However, assessing a thought, which is kinetic measure, are beneficial for those sufferers to boost their optimism and help them regain inner strength, to enhance their optimism again and lead them confidently face their life again. And it also have two brief texts in which were introduced as a positive intervention, emotional resilience training, and for enhancing optimism purpose. For those question participants, based on their unfortunate incidents that recently occurred, to provide the answer and figure out the most popular answer. Those answers can present reflection as to whether the person tends to be optimistically thinking or not. How about the resiliences? How do we apply the resiliences? The ability of resilience can help us to adapt the rate in which can be the high rates of stress and mental illness. It can help us. Resilience can help us to deal with everything from heartbreak to failure, or even in our daily life, it can give us substantial opportunities or new ideas of solution while we are doing the program or job or work. For instance, while you mix up something, just being patient and yourself and to be calm or better in adapting your emotion and state to resolve the problem once again. Another case is that some people may be easy fall into spiraling faults. The person who has an ability of resilience is able to get rid of those thinking traps. And those people who have spiraling faults usually assuming everything is perfect or wonderful or even terrible, while the worst possible outcome and believing they will cope if the outcome occurs and will not seek for help. Just individually struggle with their faults. So applying resilience will help them to think more realistic and honesty, and also more actively ask help from others, such as the trust friends or family members, to recognize what is real and unreal and finally make an appropriate choice. So it also have exercise to build their personal resilience, which is the main focus of breath. It's basically just about managing our anxiety with peace breathing. Basically, it's just take a minute a day to focus on your breath. Recommend that peace breathing, a deep breathing technique that involves intentional slow breathing. There's how we do now. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Inhale slowly and deeply until your lungs fully inflate. Exhale just as slowly until your lungs empty all the way. This exercise of applying resilience has the benefit to managing stress and anxiety in the moment, but also long term. It will help our body to calm down, extend the message to the brain that we think we are okay and can handle what we are about to face.
When how, and now I'm going to talk about does optimize and resilience helps us during a pandemic. The answer is yes. Now let me show you. Firstly, optimism makes an individual more resilient. So when the adversity knocks down one's life and the person has optimistic approach toward life, then they will definitely bounce back at least as strong as before. For example, during pandemic, a lot of companies are affected in many aspects, but when the virus is eliminated, they will keep back like before. And then optimism tends to see an effect of pandemic as temporary disruption to their life. That is evaluating risk and benefit individuals who are subject to an optimized bias tend to evaluate more positively the consequence of a pandemic to themselves than to the rest of the population. And optimism is a coping mechanism to deal with adversity and more specifically with the anxiety that results from uncertainty of a pandemic, as well as the behaviors, fatigue, and natural result from its policy reactions. Hence, optimism plays a role in seeing light at the end of tunnel and coping better with effects of pandemic. Evidence suggests that optimism are more resilient to adversity. A wealth of evidence reveals that optimism people exhibit higher life satisfaction, better health, live longer, and have lower stress and love and blood pressure. As a result, they engage in less risky behavior, and when they are affected by health shocks such as COVID-19, they recover earlier and spend more time understanding treatment alternatives. Finally, optimism tends to develop stronger social ties and support networks which are helpful in times of pandemic.
Hello everyone, this is Jolene. You guys just heard about the benefits of being optimism and realism. Now I'd like to talk about the weakness of that. We know people can handle lots of tragedies, for example, like COVID-19. People are adopting that, but according to research, there are still 1/3 of them cannot handle it because it's very slowly and lasts for long. It's called chronic stress. There are also some examples for being over autism. 95% of British drivers judge themselves better than other average drivers, but actually they are not. Another example happened in University of Waterloo. It's an experiment. The professor asked students to set up a goal and a goal, like how much money do they want to save for their semester. At first, 85% of students feel very confident to finish that goal, but after experiments, only 65% of them finish that. That's an example of being over autism. But on the other hand, it does increase the saving rates. Stefano has been tracking a health club over 3 years. There are 7,878 members in this club monthly or annually, but they pay for that. They didn't go to the gym. They're wasting their money. And he claims they waste about 450 pounds a year. So the thing is, they don't see themselves as over autism. So they think they're on the way to doing well, but actually they are not. So the thing is, being over autism is like overconfidence. They don't see how bad they are right now, so they cannot improve themselves. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you. And now I'd like to give you guys a conclusion about our presentation. First, Yuting, as our first speaker, she gave us a general definition of realism and autism. Aline, as our second speaker, she speaks about two different categories of people when they meet trouble. First of them is blame on themselves, and second one is blame on other stuff. When people is autism he or she will believe it's possible to change. It changes the way of their thinking, and he will try to reach their goals. And Wen Hao is our third speaker. She introduced 2 trainings to enhance autism purpose. Wei Bin, as our fourth speaker, he explained autism makes a people or a company more flexible when they meet pandemic, for example, like COVID-19. And me, as the last speaker, I talk about the results when people become over autism, and people will get arrogancy and lots of that. Thank you for watching our presentation. Have a nice day.
Thanks for listening. If there is any problem, please bring it up.